Government Senator Mr. Thompson rubbish claim in relation to Dr. Dawes' accusations and stupidity in relation to the drill that was purchased for the Bustamante Children's Hospital. Yes, the same Mr. Dawes that claimed that the PNP poisoned him. Yes, the PNP poisoned him, and his story was like Alal Balu, Anansi Ness or whatever. It is the same thing right now. So I want you guys to listen keenly. And this stupidity that Dr. Dawes is trying to bring across. Listen to how the man explained the procurement process in acquiring that drill. Listen, Jamie.
Dr. Dawes called for the Auditor General and Integrity Commission to probe the circumstances around the procurement. He claimed that the procurement was done by a company owned in part by attorney-at-law and the government MP Donovan Williams. Williams, of course, is the MP for Central Kingston, and he has issued a statement rejecting the claim. Senator Thompson joins us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, George and Tana. Good morning to your listeners.
Morning. The issue you have with how Dr. Dawes has laid out the issues concerning this drill, just tell the listeners what is that particular issue you have?
So, I would say it is an issue with doing your due diligence and doing your checks. I had to reach out to some people after the press conference and the reports, because for a lot of us, we thought that this matter was laid to rest. The chairman of SERA invited the opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Dawes, to a meeting to outline how the process was performed, which is an unusual practice, but one that the chairman was doing, I guess, for transparency, right? And he outlined everything to Dr. Dawes. After which, most of us would have thought that the matter was settled, everything was satisfied, and it was over. Right? I have an issue with the narrative here that something is wrong with the procurement process with regards to this drill. A $31 million drill for children at Bustamante Hospital for Children. The procurement process goes through different stages.
Dr. Thompson, just bear with us. Just hold it right there, because I think it is necessary also, and I'm happy we have you because you can explain. I get the impression that many people listening to this story think it's a drill that you go buy at True Value or one of those hardwares. Yeah? What is this neurosurgical drill? What is it? What does it do? Is it something that is commonplace in terms of the supply of it? Tell me about that.
So essentially, it is a state-of-the-art drill that was purchased to assist with procedures related to neurosurgical care for the children at Busta. Right? The minister would have brought us through the entire process with how the drill works. When he went to Bustamante Hospital for Children, he showed it. The doctors who were there, they showed it. We went through all of that already.
So it's a delicate instrument to perform brain surgery on children.
To perform complex surgeries on children.
There you go.
Right? And for me, it is invaluable. There's no cost that can be ascribed to a lot of the equipment that we use, but of course, business people, they have to ascribe a cost to it. And as such, we get that cost. Right? The microscope that was procured for KPH, if my understanding serves me correctly again, it was 70 million. So these are items, neurosurgical, anybody who has done a neurosurgical procedure understands the cost of the procedure itself. Right? Mm-hmm. And as such, the equipment that is used for neurosurgical procedures are going to be of a high cost as well. Right? So yes, 31 million, as you had said, George, when you look at it and you say, wow, this is a lot. It is a lot. But it is to the benefit. I think it's an invaluable piece of equipment, state-of-the-art equipment, that, will benefit children at the hospital.
When we talk,
all the doctors have stated that.
When we say equipment, so help me now with this. Is the drill made of component parts? In other words, is it a drill system where you have supporting components that would fetch a higher price at procurement, as opposed to, say, then the drill bit, the handheld part? So in other words, you have the handheld part that is connected to a whole network of other things that forms a whole drill system, but the drill itself is a component part. Is it sold like that? Is it procured like that, based on your understanding?
So no. So usually when these items are procured, there's a main part, which is the drill, and then you have all the other fittings as well that go, accessory parts to it.
Yes.
So usually the figure that is given is the entire component.
Okay.
Right? The other bits and pieces will be itemized as different costs, but the main component to it will, of course, have the highest cost of everything else. Right?
Yes.
Now, my understanding is that the drill was procured with all the bells and whistles, as we would say, right? Because that is what is necessary to advance the state of healthcare in our country. Right? If we say we are going to move us from this point to another point where we deliver A-grade care, we have to have the equipment to do it.
From what Dr. Dawes said, do you get the impression that he's comparing this $31 million drill? And by the way, are you satisfied that the cost is $31 million? Because I've seen a $27 million bandied about as well. So which is the figure based on your understanding?
So the interesting thing was, when I engaged the stakeholders, they said that, there was another drill for 50 million.
Oh.
Right? Yes. So the process, you go through the process and you look at the equipment, the end users will look at the equipment, and the procurement team will be there to make sure that they guide you, that everything that you're doing is above board.
Right. But Dr. Dawes said he compared two refurbished drills to this $31 million.
Of what he's comparing at this point.
Okay.
My understanding, and I spoke to persons related to this matter last evening, it is not common practice, and I've been a part of processes for even my own hospital, Spanish Town Hospital, right? My experience has been that the procurement process is solid, right? They don't joke around down there at Sarah when they're doing procurement. That's my understanding. Now, my understanding is that the process for the drill was above board. It is mind-boggling how you can incriminate all the people in a process and say that the process wasn't above board. I don't know what... You cannot procure something that is refurbished. That's my understanding. The procurement process, when you're procuring an item, a new item, it ought to be new.
Yes.
That's my experience with procurement process. It's always a new.
Yes.
Government doesn't procure any used part or anything like that. It's new things.
And just for the completion of information, you've been interfacing with the procurement process for how long?
For quite a while. Since I've been at the consultant level with food drug business from 2016. Right? I started a service at the Spanish Town Hospital for urology. And of course, what comes with that, you're going to need to outfit the department with urology equipment.
Yes.
And every time I contacted procurement, the procurement team, they would be most helpful to guide us through the process and said, this is what we need. I remember so many things happen throughout the process. And all of this is to the benefit of the Jamaican people to ensure that the taxpayers' dollars are spent properly.
Yeah, I want to ask you this question. You see, I've been toying with it, but I have to ask because, again, based on the discussion that people have been having under various posts about this issue across various media houses, because we're not just looking at our work alone, we're looking at what the competition has and what people are saying over there. Here's a question that emerges from that, Dr. Thompson. Based on the procurement process that you know and the Public Procurement Commission, the PPC here, and how they do their work, is it easy, if possible at all, to interfere with the procurement process to the extent that your friend who is supplying a particular good or service gets the contract and it goes through every step of the procurement process? Is that possible?
Let me tell you something. I guess some people in this world will say anything is possible, right? Because you're going to always have 0.0001% chance of something happening, right? It is highly unlikely that something like that will happen. And I'm tell you why I said that. a lot of times, myself and my colleagues, when we get some rejection letters, we get some rejection letters from either PPC or even the procurement teams tell us that this is the reason why we can't go this direction right now. I really, entered into even the legislative side of things, right? I used to think that, boy, why are they being so difficult? Why we can't just get the things that we need? Why we can't just get it that we need? And then, issues like this come up, and I understand why the process has to be so rigid and structured. Yeah? Because people don't want these kind of things to happen, and I understand why it has to be so rigid and structured. My only issue is, and the government is dealing with that, is the efficiency in which we can get through the process. Right? So we have to stay efficient, we have to stay structured, it has to be fair, right? And can fit up to any kind of scrutiny that comes at us.
Yeah. So your word this morning, Dr. Thompson, we're running out of time, is that a precision instrument, a neurosurgical drill that saves lives used at a children's hospital. You're saying that nothing is impossible, but based on your interaction of 9+ years with public procurement at this level, it is highly unlikely that you could rig a procurement process to benefit your friend or your colleague.
Absolutely.
Hear you on that. Thank you this morning.
All right, thank you.
Government Senator Dr. Elon Thompson, medical doctor. Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electric.